Welcome once again then to our Rinka King series from 1970, as we've been calling it the most niche save in the history of TEW. That may not be true, but who knows? I think there's a good chance anyway. Certainly the most niche save I've done in TEW, certainly on this channel anyway. And we are now into March of 1970. We've had a couple of good months behind us, and we are at the point where we will be bringing you the Rinka King Heavyweight Title Tournament final. I'll be bringing you details of what that card is in just a second. First of all, a little bit of information about some business we've done. Actually, I wanted to look at the roster because this is becoming a reasonably large roster now, and I don't think I'm finished building this out because I really enjoy. I actually quite like having a big roster, and I think having quite a lot of wrestlers who are there just to put others over is no bad thing. You'll notice that we have now signed the Briscoes to more ongoing deals, which is great news because they're obviously really good. But also, we have got a couple of the road agents that are going to be sticking around on a more regular basis as well. Sander Kovacs is the main one that I'm pretty pleased to have ensured we got, and Dick Rains and Dick Worley are also going to be doing refereeing duties. So I think we are in a good place now where I don't no longer have to rely on alliance loans just to get referees and road agents in. You'll notice that we have exercised the Alliance loan system by bringing in Donna Christinello and Ethel Johnson. They will be having the first female match in Rinka King history on the next show. So let's just have a look then at the next card, because yes, it is headlined by the Rinka King Heavyweight Title Tournament final. Dara Singh will take on King Kong Chaya in a final match that was written in the stars. Really, they're the two of the big stars in the company, and with Tiger Jagander Singh, is it? I've forgotten his name. Is it Jagander? Joginder Singh, Tiger Joginder Singh, out to film a movie in the near future. I don't think he's yet gone actually, but he will be very soon. This is our biggest match, and they're both our big two stars, so they will face each other in the main event for the title to determine the first Rinka King heavyweight champion. We've also got the sort of tag team dream match of the Funk brothers against the Briscoe brothers, Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk up against Jack and Jerry Briscoe, and then we've got Antonio Inoki versus the Great Malumba. We've got that special attraction match, as we're calling it, Donna Christinello versus Ethel Johnson. We've got Tiger Jeet Singh, Rajendra Singh, and Saeed Saif Shah against Alan Garfield, Ray Apollon, and Curtis Iakea. Chinley up against George Burgess, and then Klondike Bill and John Kowalski versus Ajit Singh and Frank Hurley. Few more sort of filler matches, I would say, at the lower level of this, or the sort of earlier matches in this show, but still some pretty big contests, and of course the big main event, a tournament final that we've been building for the previous four shows, will finally come to a head here. So yeah, really looking forward to this one. Okay then, so here we are in front of 1100 people once again in southern India, and we start with a tag team match. It's Klondike Bill and John Kowalski versus Ajit Singh and Frank Hurley. Klondike Bill and Kowalski get the win when Bill pins Ajit Singh by using underhanded tactics. There's a little bit of a stable here, the English contingent of wrestlers, which include Klondike Bill and John Kowalski, as well as Alan Garfield, and there's one other, Dwight J. Engelberg, and I feel like they're kind of a stable. They're definitely a heel stable. I think in India in the 70s that's a fair place for them to be. I mean, I don't know. I'm not particularly learned, if you like, on Indian history and culture, but I would have thought that they would, in a wrestling context, and a group of English wrestlers would be natural heels. But whatever the case, they get a victory here with a using underhanded tactics against two of the baby faces of the company so far, Ajit Singh and Frank Hurley. And Frank Hurley sustains an elbow MCL sprain, which could be a bit of an annoyance because we've got something coming up, not on the next event, but from the seventh show that he will be involved in. Klondike Bill was the best performer on the night, 39 for him, and Ajit Singh did a 34. This did a 35 segment rating, so not too bad to start things off. So then next up we get Chin Lee versus George Burgess. I think Chinley's been really good since joining the company. A 46 rating for him, Burgess a 38, segment rating of 45. Crowd rating now is starting to look better. A 6 is still not amazing, but a lot of these undercard wrestlers are now actually gaining some popularity in India, which is great, and the crowd heat is hot and rising, which is also really cool too. Then we have the six-man tag match: Tiger Jeet Singh, Rajendra Singh, and Saeed Saif Shah against Alan Garfield, Ray Apollon, and Curtis Iakea. Crowd rating of 9 for this one, with the crowd afterwards white hot. Segment rating of 42. Curtis Iakea was the best man in the match, and he didn't get the victory. Sorry, Ray Apollon did. He only did a 36, and it might be time for me to accept that Apollon, is not quite the big kind of potential future star that I had at one point. I don't think I saw him as a future star, but I saw him as somebody we could push because he obviously has been in a feud with Great Malumba, but his ratings haven't been really good enough. Tiger Jeet Singh, meanwhile, our overall mission to get him to become the main star in India is going along reasonably well. It's going to take some time. We're not rushing that at all. Garfield was off his game during this one, and Dick really didn't do a particularly good as road agent. And then we've got the women's special attraction match as Donna Christinello faces Ethel Johnson. Now, this is interesting. The fans came to see men's wrestling, and so we're not happy to see Donna Christinello, who only competes against women. The same for Ethel Johnson. They still did a 43 rating, in fairness, between them. A really good match, a 42 and a 43 in terms of their in-ring performances. Ethel Johnson getting the victory at 8:28 by submission. Now, maybe this is because I need to tweak something about the product, in terms of in the product. I need to make it clear that we've got a small women's division. I don't know. I think I'm gonna kind of do a little bit of tinkering and just sort of investigate what it is that I need to do to make sure this is okay. I don't know what I'm going to do with the women. I don't know if we're going to have a big women's division in this company as well, but I just thought it might be something additional that we can do on a regular basis. And at the very least, this is quite, in my view and my understanding and my sort of knowledge of professional wrestling in the 70s, having a women's match on the show as a special attraction, or even having a small person's match on the show as a special attraction was quite a regularly done thing. If you look back through WWF history and their events, you can see every couple of times a year or 2 or 3 times a year the women join the tour that they're on any given month, and they sort of have a match that they put on. So this is kind of what we're doing here with this for the moment, but we might make it a more regular feature of the company going forward. So then we have Antonio Inoki versus Great Malumba, a segment rating of 41, with Malumba sustaining a hip flexor strain, which I'm assuming is the reason why this wasn't great, because Antonio Inoki did a 63. Actually, Malumba's in-ring performance was really poor. So I think, in general, we may have picked two wrestlers in Apollon and Malumba who aren't that great, ultimately, to put into a feud against one another. Here, Malumba loses when Inoki gets the pinfall after an enziguri following distraction from Malumba's rival Ray Apollon. We'll have to take into account as well Malumba being injured, which could be an issue for him going forward. Segment rating of 41 was a little bit of a disappointment, but actually we're seeing that Inoki's got no problems, is Malumba, who's just not a great wrestler at all. And then we had the tag team match, which only did a 46, and we had another injury. What is going on in this show today? So another injury. Jerry Briscoe suffering an olecranon fracture. We'll have to look into that. Crowd at the end was very hot. Segment rating of 46, which is not bad, but considering the in-ring rating here of Dory Funk Jr. and of Jack Briscoe, this should have been better, especially with Jack and Jerry Briscoe showing excellent chemistry team together, although they were both off their game. What else? Was there any other notes? No, this should have been better, I think, than 46, but ultimately didn't. They went to a time limit draw and started a feud between the Funks and the Briscoes to take us forward with these two teams. This is obviously the tag team dream match, and maybe we just need to do a bit more work in terms of Terry Funk and Jerry Briscoe and their overall popularity before this can perhaps realise its potential in our promotion. After the match, oh yeah, we just got the note about Jerry Briscoe there. So after the match, Jack Briscoe gets on the microphone and calls out to Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk to go for 5 more minutes. He says, look, we've just gone 20 minutes. We've wrestled to a draw. Let's find out who's the better team. Come back and we'll do 5 more minutes. But Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk walk off. Now this is not great. Only a segment rating of 14, and it lost the feud some heat, and the crowd heat at the end was simmering down, which is a shame. But this is just to sort of start, putting in place the building bricks of a feud, and of course, also to sort of really emphasize the fact that the Funks are the heels in this particular circumstance. So it's time for our tournament final, main event of the night: King Kong Chaya and Dara Singh for the Ring Kicking Heavyweight title. And in a 59 rated match, Dara Singh gets the victory in 10 minutes 14 by pinfall and wins the title. Dara Singh becomes the first Ring Kicking Heavyweight champion, probably to nobody's surprise, given that King Kong Chaya is 60 years old. Dara Singh had to really come through this. He did a 61 in-ring performance, Chaya at 51. Not like the most amazing match, but one that will certainly have recovered this show to being a bit better than it was looking at one point. And so Dara Singh is our first Ring King champion, and that means that we did an overall rating of 46, with the Briscoes and the Funks being used too much on the show. That may be one of the reasons why their match rating wasn't particularly high, despite some of the in-ring performances that was there. Ray Apollon was slightly overused. We've also got 3 injuries from this show we'll have to have a look into, but we still increased our popularity in one region, which is at least something. I think we're going to give Dara Singh a big compliment. I think we're going to give Dory Funk a compliment, and I think we're going to give Jack Briscoe a compliment on this one. Injury review. So this is big. 3 injuries. 2 of them are going to be able to be worked through, but Jerry Briscoe is going to be out for 31 days and will only be able to work angles. So I'll have to have a look into the plans I had for our next show to see if that's a problem. These 2 are not a problem, as they can work through them, although obviously it won't be ideal if they have to. Financial report is what it is. It's not very important. To be honest, we're making money. We're not in a problem. And we still haven't gone up to 41 in southern India, despite 3 shows which have all increased the popularity. So we're obviously inching towards the 41 there. And that is the event. So a pretty good event. And a new champion. Obviously, Dara Singh finally crowned champion after the 16-man tournament that's been going for the last 2 months. And that's that, really. The feedback was that the show has been pretty good all round. This is just the news of them 2, their alliance loan being up, and the injuries that we have already seen. So we can remove all of those messages. Yeah, not too bad, but could be better. And a few things for me to now think about as we plan for the next show. Okay, so we're about a week away from the next show, Ring King Wrestling Exhibition in March. And one thing I haven't done is I want to sign Danny Hodge again. In fact, he might be available to work more regularly for us. He can work in India. I think we'll just put him on the roster now that we can get him. Is he still the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Title Champion? He is. So we're just going to sign him. Danny Hodge is going to be coming in to the company. So we're about a week away from our next show, and I've determined what the card is going to be. I always had in mind what the main event was going to be for this one, but the rest of the show I wasn't very clear on. So here it is, and we have got 20-man battle royal to determine the number 1 contender to the Ring King Heavyweight title. I figure, again, imagining the world we're in, this is India's first wrestling promotion. According to this world, at least. I don't know what the historical veracity of that is or not, but the point is, in terms of the game, this is the first ever wrestling promotion in India, and so this will be the first battle royal that they've ever seen, and therefore I felt like that was a pretty big attraction to put on as our main event. Then we've got a tag team semi-main, which sees the new champion, of course, Dara Singh and Great Malumba teaming together against King Kong Chaya and Ray Apollon. We just signed him, Danny Hodge. He will defend the NWA Junior Heavyweight title against Huracan Castillo on this event. We've got another special attraction match for the women, Tony Rose versus Penny Banner, and we have to. That's right, we have to change a little bit our product in order to accommodate that. It'd be interesting to see if I can do that, and if I can't, this may very well be the last women's match we have in the company. We've got the Sheepherders versus Alan Garfield and Klondike Bill. The Sheepherders, obviously Butch and Luke. The Bushwhackers, they are coming in because what we're going to be doing from the next event and in our next episode is the World Cup. We're going to be doing a World Cup. It's going to be 16 trios teams broken up into four groups where there will be two teams advancing from each group, then a quarter-final, semi-final, and final. So very much like a real World Cup, and I felt like that was quite on point given that when I'm recording this, the World Cup has literally just started. I don't know when this is going to come out, so it might be months after after that date that this comes out, and it may not be as relevant then as it is now. But I felt like it was a cool idea for a kind of a wrestling promotion in the 70s, a reasonably innovative but still conservative idea for a tournament. So the Sheephunters are coming in to join the New Zealand team. They've already got John Da Silva in the company, so they will be teaming with John Da Silva as the New Zealand trio. And Dusty Rhodes is another one who will be joining the roster. We've got him on an alliance loan. We've also got the Sheepherders on an alliance loan as well, and Bruno Sammartino. And that's because Dusty Rhodes and Bruno Sammartino are coming in also to join that World Cup. Dusty Rhodes will be joining the Funks on Team USA, whilst Bruno Sammartino will be the captain of Team Italy. Entirely new group of wrestlers will be coming in for them. So I've already sort of looked at who all the wrestlers are going to be in the tournament, and we're going to have to bring in a number of other individuals before the next show in order to do that. But I thought we'd start by bringing in one or two, well, in fact, four wrestlers who are going to be competing in that tournament early and bring them in for this show. So that's the beginning of the event, introducing Bruno, Dusty, and the Sheepherders to our audience. Now, I thought I would give you some insight into some of the other things that are going on within the game. So, financially, we are doing very well. We made a bit less profit last month than we did the previous month, and that is because the worker costs are increasing as we bring in more wrestlers with a high reputation. I'm perfectly comfortable with that. The Battle Royal will no doubt cost us a fair bit of money to put on as well, because we're going to be booking 20 wrestlers just in that match. But that's fine. That's all in where I would like it to be. In terms of size, we haven't increased our popularity anywhere, and there is no way for me to get any TV deal in India, unfortunately. So first of all, we'll negotiate. Yes, there's nobody, but partly that is because there is no coverage anywhere in the world in India. There's no broadcasting in India whatsoever, and I don't know if the game will ever accommodate that. So that's just something we're going to have to live with. It's possible that one or two of these other TV stations from across the world might be willing to broadcast our show, depending on what size we are. I'll explore that another time. But yeah, for now, TV does not seem to be a thing. So I did consider, in fairness, if we go into the investments screen here, I did consider launching my own broadcaster. So to launch a tiny broadcaster in India would cost $65,000, which we can afford, especially as we're making profit. If we were to go any higher than that, though, we actually can't. So tiny is as high as we can go if we wanted to do that. So that's something I'll think about as well. And then in terms of top 100s, well, the February show, Wrestling Exhibition, was our best so far. The most recent one we just did was a 46, the lowest rated event we've done thus far. In terms of top 100 matches, Dara Singh's match with Antonio Inoki in the Ring King Heavyweight title tournament in the quarterfinal, I think, was the best match we put on so far. And Dory Funk Jr. versus Tiger Jaginder Singh was also really good, a 62 for them. The main event of our last show was actually the third best match we've had in history, so it didn't do too badly, and Inoki's also up there with Kintaro Oki. So very much around Dory Funk Jr., Antonio Inoki, Dara Singh, King Kong Chaya, sort of, although not to any great extent. And Tiger Jaginder Singh, who we have had confirmed will not be back with the company until May, so a fair amount of time till he's back. And he's got morale issues anyway because he didn't like the fact that he had to lose to Dory Funk Jr. But we did have to have him lose because, like, he was going. First of all, he was going off for the movie, but also we couldn't really have him win the NWA World Heavyweight Title. I just didn't feel like it was a particularly realistic scenario. Not that this is super realistic anyway, but just that felt like a bridge too far, so we didn't do it. So anyway, next time you are with us in just a moment, for you, for me it's a little bit of time, when the cut in this video comes, ultimately, we will be bringing you our next event. So we are here for the wrestling exhibition, the second show in March in northern India for the first time. So hopefully now the pattern becomes clear to everyone. We're going to run one show in southern India every month, and then we're going to alternate for the other show in each month between northwest and east India, and we're finally hitting northern India for the first time, and I'm quite looking forward to this event because there feels like there's a lot of new arrivals and all kinds of things going on, and the opener saw Bruno Sammartino make his debut for Rinka King, defeating Dwight J. Engelberg by 10 minutes and 1 second by pinfall with a Sammartino slam. Segment rating of 43. Sammartino does a 46 in-ring rating, Engelberg a 37. Not great road agenting here, and the crowd rating obviously 1 because Sammartino has no popularity whatsoever in India. But again, the way this game is allowing me to just bring anybody in because I can forge this relationship with the NWA. Pretty much everybody is on handshake deals. There's very few people actually on written deals outside of the NWA, and so I can pretty much, as long as somebody is signed to an NWA territory, and there are loads of them, I can sign them. So I can pretty much sign anybody, and which is meaning we're gradually building our way to an all-star roster here. We've already got the Briscoes, we've got the Funks, Bruno's now in, Dusty is also in on this show, obviously. Antonio Inoki's already in the company, Danny Hodge is in the company. We're pretty much piling up the big names and the big stars for this company. The second match is Dusty Rhodes' debut in the company. He defeats Saeed Saif Shah at 8:31 by pinfall while using the ropes for leverage. So Dusty just reinforcing his position as a heel here, and he obviously will be in Team USA alongside the Funk Brothers in the World Cup that's coming up very shortly. This did a segment rating of 44. The crowd hot and rising, and Dusty Rhodes did a 46 in-ring performance, which is a pretty good start for somebody with no popularity. So again, a pretty decent match. And then the third match involving debutants is the Sheepherders taking on the English Roses, Alan Garfield and Klondike Bill. I have now brought that group of English wrestlers that I was talking about a little while ago together. All four of them now make up the English Roses, and here Garfield and Klondike Bill defeat the Sheepherders, in fact, when Alan Garfield pins Butch Miller following interference from another one of the English Roses, John Kowalski. Luke Williams was the best performer in the ring, a 57 rated. Bill and Garfield didn't do particularly well here, and this starts a new feud between England and New Zealand, two teams that will be in the same group for that World Cup. But a decent match, segment rating of 42, crowd hot, and then after the match, a bunch of guys get involved in a big old brawl. So the two teams plus obviously the man who interfered, John Kowalski, start fighting. John Da Silva, who is the other New Zealander who will be in the World Cup alongside the Sheepherders, runs in to kind of help them, but also then I think it's Dwight J. Engelberg also gets involved to sort of tip the balance in the English Roses' favour. This did a 30 segment rating, and as you can see, the crowd just weren't into any of these wrestlers enough for them to be in such a long 4 minutes. This was such a long angle, but there we go, never mind. So back to the female wrestling, and this time you'll notice there's no note about the crowd not being interested in women's wrestling, and that's because we have put in our product description now that we have a tiny women's division, and this actually by the end had the crowd white hot. Tony Rose, an in-ring performance of 47, that's really impressive from her, and Penny Banner was off her game. A segment rating of 40, a very decent match this one. Both baby faces coming into this match. Then Danny Hodge defended the NWA World Junior Heavyweight title against Huracan Castillo, a match that went 13 minutes and 4 seconds, and Hodge won by pinfall. Segment rating of 48, and Danny Hodge did a 47 in-ring performance. Of course, that we're in Northern India for the first time in this show means that most of the wrestlers are being exposed to this crowd for the first time, which means that it's going to be difficult for us to get the really big ratings on this show. And I'm actually a little bit nervous about this main event because it's the first main event that we've put on that doesn't have Tiger Jaginder Singh, Dara Singh, or King Kong Chaya. And those are our big sort of main eventers. Those are the guys who have huge amounts of popularity in India, and they're the only ones. So a little bit concerned about how that battle royal is going to go. Then we had the tag team match, Dara Singh and Great Malumba against King Kong Chaya and Ray Apollon. King Kong Chaya pinned Malumba to get the victory for his team with a segment rating here of 51. Apollon seemed off his game, and Dara Singh and Great Malumba don't work well as a team, which has perhaps really offset this rating for the match. Dara Singh did a 59, Chaya a 55, but Malumba and Apollon, who still are in this feud, are both down in the 20s, not performing great. And one thing that I will make a note about here, I was originally going to have this be Dara Singh and the Funks against the Briscoes. Sorry, Dara Singh and the Briscoes against King Kong Chaya and the Funks. And I actually can't now remember why I changed that. That's really funny. I think that I may have thought that one of the Briscoes wasn't going to be available. Maybe they were. I can't even remember. I think it might be that Jerry wasn't available. That's right. Jerry Briscoe's not available because he's injured. And so I needed a way to do this match. And actually, Great Malumba and Ray Apollon were just easily fitted into it. So this might have been a better match with those teams involved, is what I was trying to get to with that rambling little monologue I just went on. So it is time for it's not time for the main event, because after this match, King Kong Chaya gets in the microphone and says to Dara Singh that he's just proven once again why he is the most dominant man in Ring Ka King, and says that he will take that title that Dara Singh holds one way or another at some point in the future. So there's just to continue the feud between Chaya and Dara Singh and set the sort of expectation for a future rematch between the two. A segment rating of 59, despite Chaya being terrible with no script. This was alright, frankly. And so it's time for the main event, the 20-man battle royal to determine the new number one contender to Dara Singh's title, and it did a segment rating of 55. Terry Funk is the winner in 21:34. The final four wrestlers in the ring were Terry Funk, Dory Funk Jr., Jack Briscoe, and Tiger Jeet Singh. So once again, just subtly pushing Tiger Jeet Singh just a little bit further. Curtis Ike, Hansi Rooks, Peter Maivia, and were all off their game, and Chin Lee's gimmicks getting stale. But a couple of stories benefited from this and gained heat. Good match, actually, all in general, and yeah, pretty happy with this. Frank Hurley went first, then Curtis Ikea, Rajendra Singh, Saeed Saif Shah, Hercules Cortez, John Kowalski, Peter Maivia, George Burgess, John De Silva, Ajit Singh, Dwight J. Ingleberg, Chin Lee, Hansi Rooks, Butch Miller, Antonio Inuki, Luke Williams, Tiger Jeet Singh, Dory Funk Jr., and finally Jack Briscoe was the final elimination by Terry Funk. And that ends the show on a pretty high note, a 48 overall rating. So in the end, I didn't have anything to worry about. This is the second worst show we've done so far, I think. But it still increased our popularity in northern India. So it served its purpose. And as I said, in the next event, we're going to get the World Cup kicked off. I will be revealing the groups and who's in what group and all the rest of it on the next episode. But I think we will close this one down now. So if you've been enjoying this series, by the way, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.